Hey everybody, it's Mr. Delusive here with the weekly Devblog. Today I'm going through what I did this week, and it's a lot of kind of stuff you don't really see. It's more like optimization, code optimization. I finished the mega boss, like there was still those few more things I had to do from last week, and that's all done. And just, yeah, making the game run more smooth, and I made a few more ships. So at the moment I'm running at full Ultra HD 3840 by 2160, which is the max resolution the game runs at, and I've got this FPS counter because during this week I noticed when I was testing out a few things, because most of the time I'm running at 2560 by 1600, so I still can see the code and stuff and just have a window of this. But yeah, I noticed when I was running at full Ultra HD, I was getting like 30 frames per second. About at 1080, it was hanging around 60, and yeah, and that was only on the gameplay screen. So I was trying to figure out what was going on with that. So I'll go into it. And yeah, the FPS count I just chopped up in like 2 lines of code. So I've just put it at a half-second update tick. And yeah, I didn't bother converting the string. So yeah, like this is one of the new ships as well. So I've done a whole bunch. I forget which one I've shown, which ones I haven't. And I've actually fixed all the text, and I've done a lot of rebalancing of the ships and getting them ready for how they're actually going to be. Like so how it's set. I wrote this all down the other day. So from level 1 to 20, you'll have usually fighters, and they cost from the 45,000 to 100,000 credit range. And yeah, like they're what you'd usually the type of ships you'd have first. And then when you get to like level 21 to 40, you'll start getting into frigates, which are around the 100 to 250,000 range, and they've got around 5 times the hit points of the fighters. So if we look, which one? This one? No, that's still a fighter. Oh no, that's a frigate. So we see here 100 hit points compared to triangulation. This is the higher end fighter, so that's got like 150 hit points. Initiative 100 hit points. So yeah, around 5 times the hit points. The frigates have 5 times the hit points of the fighters. And then like here's another frigate, and the higher end 650 hit points. I think the loyalty was a cruiser. Yeah. So after frigate, there's cruisers, and they're around the 250,000 to 1 mil price range, and they've got 10 times the HP of the frigates. So if we look here, it's got around 5,000 hit points. The mass kind of gets a bit higher as well, which I'm thinking I might change a bit more as well, because there's still a little bit have to do with the engines. But I've got the shields ready as well. I've done a lot of work on the shielding, which I'll go through after this. So yeah, then after cruisers, they're around the 41 to level 60 range. There's another cruiser. And then finally we have the battleships, which are at the 1 mil to 10 mil range, and they're usually from level 60 plus, level 61 onward. And they have 10 times the hit points of the cruisers. So yeah, we've got around 50,000 hit points. And again, bigger mass, more weapon mount points. So with the mount points, you'll have like 2 to 3 on the fighters, or even the 1. Some of them have 1. And this is actually a transport type vessel, the Confidence. And then the frigates have around 2 and 3. Like this one's got 3. Loyalty's got 3 as well, I think. No, 4. So yeah, 3, 4 for the frigates. Cruisers have sometimes 4. Actually, no, the Loyalty is a cruiser, so yeah. Cruisers have 4 to 5. Yeah, frigates 3 to 4. Cruisers 4 to 5. Even some, I think, have 6. And then battleships can have 6 to... Kairos is kind of the upper end battleship, and that's got 10. That's probably like the max amount of mount points I'm going to have in the game, weapon mount points. And I've adjusted the text to say what the ship starts with and everything. So like this one's got 5 mount points with 5 times the hybrid autoguns and argon plasma, a charged cobalt plasma shield, and a ejection special. So yeah, it's more detailed, I guess, and I fixed alignment. So we're going to like Vipersec, Griffin, Chimera. So yeah, like the Gunner and the Hellraiser are battleships. They're kind of the starting battleships, and you know, you have like 6 mount points. Same with the Hellraiser. So yeah, still adding more. I was aiming around 10 fighters for each faction, 5 frigates for each faction, 8 cruisers, and 5 battleships for each faction. So that's 28 ships total per faction, times that by 5, so that's like 140 ships to choose from and get as you progress. So hopefully that will be a good amount, and that's slowly coming more and more. So from last week as well, I kind of already had done some changes, but I'm setting them up more. So the shields have their shield amount. They have, so I think I've discussed it already, the shield stuff. So yeah, but anyway, the shield, they have hit points, they have recharge amount, and I think there was something else. But what I was actually thinking was the engine. So this week I've fixed up how the engines work. So if I go into it, I'll just go into gameplay. So with engines, we have, if you look at this counter here, it kind of counts down, and that's based on your move speed. So if your engine has higher move speed, you'll get to your warp active position quicker, but also the background and all the enemies will scroll quicker as well. So if I go into the cheat ship, you'll see the difference. So that's been like that for a while now. But what I've changed is now that engines have also the move speed and the agility. So the agility changes how quick you snap to max movement and how quickly you move as well. So that used to be based on move speed as well, but now I've changed that to agility. So you can have like an insane move speed, but your ship still might, move like this one. And that was to prevent, near late game, I want to introduce some really high move speed engines to counter the high mass of the battleships and the cruisers. So yeah, and they could be equipped even on these fighters, but then the move speed on the fighters will just go to some insane level, but whatever the player wants. And and then with that I can add modifiers to agility as well, and so it gives more room to play around there. So this one's one of the newer ones. It's just got the auto gunner. So I'll turn this, before I show off the cheat ship, I'll turn this up and I'll do the full Mega Boss fight with the music on and the sound. So we will enjoy Nico's music at full volume if it plays. I might have bugged it out again. don't think it's playing. No. I'll just keep it at this resolution as well. I'll just reload it. Because I think I figured out what stops the music, but it's strange. The FPS is hanging around 60. So yeah, I've done that explosion, kind of. I mean, I've got to add a lot more, I think, anyway, to the gameplay that makes it look a lot better, but yeah. So now we can hear that song change as well when the boss comes in. Right now, if I show you the cheat ship, so I just made this ship to test. So if you noticed, you know, for anyone who watches the Devblogs, you can get info on the in-game cheats, which are those two. So now I've made that second code. DSDQD is now instead gives you this ship, and I'll just fly to the war zone again. DSKFA gives you. So if you notice how quickly the background moves in these ships, so this is an insanely fast engine, well, an insane move speed engine on this ship, but it still has a lower agility. Oh, I got another purple. And this gun's like insane as well. And that 2.5 E. So yeah, like it's hard to aim and everything, because the enemies are moving so quick as well. But yeah, like the option is there to put these. So this might be an engine that you would want to put on a battleship, but putting an engine like that on a fighter, you know, if you're speed running and stuff. So yeah, you'll notice this is moving quicker as well. So this is all based on the engine's move speed. But and what you can't see here, it will count down the distance to warp as well, just because of how I've coded the gameplay screens. They all work the same, including that warp. And I did it because I thought when I initially made them, I wanted to have maybe some battles occur in that warp field as well. So yeah, like it's super hard to hit. And that's because, yeah, if you think about it, you're moving upward. The enemies might be moving the same speed that they're moving, but because you're moving quicker upward, they'll be moving quicker downward. I mean, it's probably doesn't look right because this background doesn't move at all. But if you see these little space dust things, so you just shot him in one shot. And that dock shrinks the ship now. We're back at Delusia 2. It's still doing this. I thought I fixed that, because that causes the game to crash sometimes. I still have to figure out that then. But yeah, so I've been having issues with the sound driver class there. And for some reason it's doing that, and I thought it was because firing was still active on that load screen and also this screen, but I've disabled it on both screens and it wasn't bugging out anymore until just now. So something else is causing that, but it hasn't crashed yet for the past like 10 tests. So let's try and crash it again. Yeah, so it's pretty much more of the same for the next few weeks until I finish all these ships. Probably make some more weapons and stuff. See how it goes. Fix that sound class still. I forget if I said it last week, but I've lowered the sizes of the planets, and on that dock screen you don't really notice because they were already getting downsized, but I kept the maximum image size, so that like when I made them they're 3000 by 3000 pixels, but when you saw them on the dock screen they were getting downsized to 1500 by 1500, and but the file size was still the 3000 by 3000. So what I've done is lowered them to actually be 1500 by 1500, so it's saved, like the game's no longer 25 gig. Something like 10 or 8 gig or something, I don't know. I think it's to do with that gun sound that's still going. Yeah, see, it's crashed. If it wasn't that, if it wasn't those sound, the sound class, it's got to be to do with that sound still going. So I thought I fixed that for good, but yeah, like that time had that sound still playing after the ship was destroyed or whatever. So it must be to do with disposing of the sound or stopping the sound or something. But hopefully I can get that fixed. Every other problem I've fixed, so I'm sure I'll figure that one out. Well, hopefully. So yeah, I think pretty much that's everything I had to show off. Because yeah, it was pretty much just code optimization, getting that FPS smooth. So as you saw, if you were looking at the FPS counter during the boss fight and before, it was hanging around the 60, and before that before I'd fixed the code up a bit, it was actually dropping to 30. And I've got a pretty decent machine. Like I think that this game is CPU intensive more than video card graphics intensive, because yeah, the graphics are just, these sprites, and yeah, like everything that was lagging the game was pretty much the calculations, so the in-game calculations, and what was actually lagging it was the collision. So I had to adjust how the collision worked and how the explosions worked. I was using an array for the explosions, and I've changed that to lists, and I've done a whole bunch of other stuff which made a huge difference. So yeah, anyway guys, I'll leave it at that, and hopefully next week I'll be able to show you that boss fight without it crashing due to the sound. I mean, I showed it anyway, but I want to have it completely fixed and have more ships and more stuff. But yeah, I know these next few weeks, these videos, there's not really going to be much to show off besides the same. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. I'll hopefully see you next week.